Hey everybody, back again today with another video. I'm here with Randall Nelson. Randy and I have started a series of videos where we are ranking the number one songs for particular years, starting from 1965, working our way up to 1975. That's the sweet spot of AM pop or singles, as it were, before the albums really carried music the rest of the way. So today we're looking at 1967, big year for pop music, a lot of great number ones. We have 18 songs to rank, and at the end we're each going to have 5 favorites, personal songs that we like that did not ever reach the number one position on the chart. So we like to do that sort of as an honorable mention at the end. So how you doing, Randy? How'd you feel about 67? It was a pretty solid year.
Yeah, it was a tough year. Like I said, I only had one song that I didn't think was too good, but the rest of them are pret's solid. And my 7 through number 1, I kept switching back and forth. When we do these, I write what I think it's going to be with that before listening to everything. And then at the top 7, there was a lot of movement in there. It was really tough for me.
Yeah, I always say this, but each year seems to get tougher because I really love this music of this era, and it's really hard to put them in any kind of order. I mean, it's interchangeable, but at the moment, this is what we're going to go with. So Randy's going to start with 18 through 16. I'll do mine, and then we'll do 15 through 11. And once we get to the top 10, we'll alternate back and forth till we get to number 1. That's our formula. So Randy, kick it off, 18 through 16.
All right, well, my number 18 is Something Stupid, Frank and Nancy Sinatra. Unfortunately, that's Frank's last number 1 hit, where like My Way or New York, New York did not make it to number 1, but this one did. And it's with his daughter, but it's almost like she's singing backup because they're both singing together and his voice kind of dominates. And it's a romantic love song, and yet it's a father and daughter singing it, which is kind of weird to start off with. And you don't get any of the great phrasing because he's just kind of singing it matter-of-factly. Something stupid. Actually, the guy that wrote it is Cameron Parks, who's the older brother of Van Dyke Parks.
Good one. Very nice.
But yeah. I don't think that the Wrecking Crew played on it, so it had some good musicians, but it just didn't work. Frank didn't get to use his normal great phrasing, like I said in the song. It didn't work for me.
Right.
That's my number 18. My number 17 is The Happening with the Supremes. It's the last song with the big hit with the Supremes and Florence Ballard. She left the band after the group after this, and replaced by Cindy Birdsong. And it's also the last number 1 hit with Holland Dozier Holland, but it was written for a cheesy cheesy comedy. And it has a great beginning, but then like the orchestration plays over Diana Ross's voice, and I don't think it really works. It's not a terrible song, like I think number 18 is, but I don't think it quite worked. Like it's got the Wrecking Crew instead of the Funk Brothers, and I don't think they were quite as good a match for the Supremes. That's my 17. And number 16, I kind of got a story to go with this, but it's kind of a drag by the Buckinghams. And I was reading an article about one of the best concerts in Kansas City that no one knows about. And it happened in 1967. And it was at a high school in Shawnee Mission, which is a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri, but on the Kansas side. And it had the Who. The Who were playing at a high school in a Kansas City suburb. And this guy was telling about how the Who played, and he says it was the most fantastic concert he'd ever seen. And at the end, they played My Generation and smashed all their instruments. And he said, "Here comes the Buckinghams." The Who was actually opening up for the Buckinghams.
Oh my
Because
Lord.
the Buckinghams come out and it's like, oh, well, what do we do now? And he says that was the most crazy concert and the best concert you ever seen. He goes, I remember everything about the Who. He said, I cannot tell you one thing about the Buckingham. And that's kind of what I feel about the Buckinghams. They're kind of a drag. It's kind of a forgettable. I like the beginning horn riff, and they were a Chicago band, but I guess they wanted to cash in on the British invasion, so they gave themselves a British name with the Buckinghams. But
Yeah.
it's a decent song, but like I said, it's just nothing special. So that's my 16 with the Who story.
That's a good one. I like that. I'm going to sound like a little bit of a broken record here, but I've got number 18 is Something Stupid also, Frank and Nancy Sinatra. To me, that was clearly the worst song of this whole batch of 18 tunes. How it stayed on the number one spot for 4 weeks, I'll never know. I just don't understand it. And again, maybe it's a generational thing, but this song just doesn't work for me. That whole father and daughter romantic singing back and forth. My parents loved the song. I remember them thinking this is great. Or, crap. The Wrecking Crew you mentioned. So it's just very, very forgettable. I even forgot about it until I did the research and saw what the number ones were. And like I said, I got to rank this. Yeah, I got to rank it. So it's number 18. And 17 again. The Happening is my number 17. It's probably my least favorite Supreme song that actually made it to number one of all their number one hits. And you mentioned that the thing I wrote down about the last one to feature Florence Ballard on background vocals as a member of the Supreme. Cindy Birdsong took over from 67 till 72. And it's just not a classic Supreme song to me. And the orchestration definitely overpowers it. It's loud. The voices are sort of underplayed. I never did see that cheesy movie that you mentioned, but I know of it. I just never saw it.
Anthony Quinn, I think, was the main character. Yeah. It was like a mafia guy gets kidnapped and they try to raise the money for it, but nobody wants to pay. So then he gets in league with the kidnappers to go after those people because they wouldn't pay any ransom for him or something like that. So.
Yeah, it's not on TV much anymore. I guess it was that bad. I think Anne Margaret might be in it too, as I recall. I'm not sure about that.
Who else is in it.
My number 16 is the other Supreme song, which I do like, but I like the rest of these songs too. And that's Love Is Here and Now You're Gone. Diana Ross several times during the song actually does a little spoken word with the dialogue. It stops the singing and sort of makes a plea. Holland Dozier Holland wrote it. This was, right in that run where the Supremes could do no wrong. They were the moneymaker for Motown back then. Almost every one of their songs went top 10, and most of them eventually went to number one during this 64 to 67 period where they were on top. So those would be my 18 through 16.
All right. My number 15. Hope the Beatles fans don't get mad at me, but I've got Hello Goodbye as number 15. The Beatles could do no wrong at this time. I think they could release anything and it would have been number one.
Right.
And this is like their first song released after the death of their manager, Brian Epstein. It's got some nice orchestration, but like I said, it's just got a repetitive chorus. And Lennon was upset that he wanted the A side to be "I'm the Walrus," which I think is a better song, and I would have ranked that higher.
Yeah.
That's my 15. My 14 is Windy by The Association. I like the song, but I think I like Along Comes Mary and Never My Love more, but it was like a folk tune that was, the Association changed the gender to a female. And I like the harpsichord, the kind of the whimsical harmonies.
Yeah.
Windy has stormy eyes, also has wings to fly above the clouds. I don't know if there's some drug references, but it kind of went in with the Summer of Love.
Yeah.
It's built on a strong melody, so I do like the song, but it's my number 14. My number 13 is Groovin by the Rascals. like the harmonica and the congas in this one. They added the birds chirping, but it's kind of a lilting stroll of a song, which I think it works perfectly. Life would be one thing that I always messed up about this song was the lyrics. Life would be ecstasy, you and me and endlessly. But I used to always think it was you and me and Leslie. Like it was.
I did too.
Threesome or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my number 13. My number 12 is the other Supreme song, Love Is Here and Now You're Gone. They were actually recorded outside of Detroit. I think it was in LA. When they didn't use the Funk Brothers too, they used the Wrecking Crew, which I think is missing something. James Jamerson was always great with the bass on to propel the Supreme songs, but I didn't like the spoken word part in it, and that's what brought it down for me. Maybe I would have had it even worse than that, but that part I didn't really care for, the spoken word part in the song. But it's my 12. And my number 11 is Daydream Believer by the Monkees. It's their last of their number 1 hits with Davy Jones singing lead, written by Jon Stewart, which I didn't really know this. Remember the Kingston Trio had the big hit with Gold by himself.
Oh yeah.
And I guess it was more of an introspective song with Jon Stewart, but it's made more into a love song, I think, with the Monkees. But it's a nice ballad. I remember really loving it as a kid.
Yeah.
But that's my number 11.
Yeah, we have some similar songs in this batch here. I have number 15, Hello Goodbye from the Beatles. Appears on the Magical Mystery Tour album. Like you said, simplistic, almost bubblegum kind of lyrics when you get down to it. You say stay, I say go. You say hi, and I say low. You say goodbye, and I say hello, hello, hello. Very commercial, simplistic, catchy chorus. That's a given. But it's pretty low ranking for a Beatles song for me. So number 15. 14, I've got kind of a drag. You mentioned this earlier, the Buckinghams out of Chicago. I consider it a sunshine pop kind of tune, a huge radio hit. That it's got a nice organ solo in the middle too. It reminds me so much of being in elementary school. I think I was in 4th grade when it came out, and I was just getting into buying 45s and listening to the pop charts and actually keeping a list of the top tracks of the day. And I remember this song very well. So number 14, probably the Buckingham's biggest hit. I don't think they ever had another number 1. They had other songs that made the top 10, but that was their signature song. I like the story you told about the Who also. My number 13 is a song that I hated to rank this low because I do like it, and that's To Sir With Love by Lulu, from the movie of the same name starring Sidney Poitier. Lulu is actually singer actress. She plays a role in the movie where she's one of the students. Sidney Poitier is teaching over in London at this kind of high school where the kids are incorrigible and are driving other teachers out. There's all kinds of bad behavior going on, and Poitier eventually wins them over, patient, determined to gain their trust and win their hearts and minds, and he does that. It's a solid movie, great performance by him. Lulu sings this touching song to him at the end, I guess, where he's in the gymnasium, and Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders actually play the band in that movie, which takes place in the gymnasium. They're the backing band for Lulu. We mentioned them on a previous video. Number 12 is Daydream Believer by the Monkees, classic bubblegum pop. Davy Jones, lead vocal, teen heartthrob, very likable song, catchy chorus. Another one of these childhood memory songs. I remember the TV shows and the magazines, like 16 magazine, and all the covers where the Monkees were all over it. They were huge at the time. Remember the first time I heard the song, I knew it was going to be a number 1 hit. It had that formula that there's no way it could miss. And number 11 for me is Windy, The Association. Very cheerful, bouncy kind of tune, irresistible harmonies. I like some of the lyrics too. Who's tripping down the streets of the city, smiling at everyone she sees? Who's reaching out to capture a moment? Everyone knows it's windy. I just think it's so corny in a way, but fun. And you listen to it, you have to sing along with it. So that would be my number 11.
All right. Guess I'm now for ready for the top 10.
Right. We're going to go back and forth on this one at a time.
And my number 10 is the one you just mentioned, To Sir with Love by Lulu. Right. Sir was Sidney Poitier because that's what they call him in the movie. Call him Sir. And this was sung by Lulu, who is a 19-year-old Scottish singer. I guess she flunked a few grades because she was still. But she had hit some hits in the UK before this. She's got this wonderful voice that can show emotion without, all the vocal theatrics, which I thought.
Yeah.
So cool. And then when I was doing some research, it said she never had another US hit. And then I go, well, she had 3 other top 40 songs in the US. So I would consider if you make the top 40, you had a hit. So sure. I think that was wrong. She did the theme from the Man with the Golden Gun, the James Bond movie.
Okay.
And actually married to a Bee Gee, Maurice Gibb, for a while.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And hosted a British TV show. But I really like that song, and it fits so well.
It does fit well. It's a really good song. And it when she sings it to him after all that's going on in the movie, you get a little bit emotional watching her sing it. It's really solid. My number 10 is one you had a little ways back, Groovin by the Rascals. 4 weeks at number 1. I love Felix Cavalari's voice. Really a soulful voice. That blue-eyed soul of R&B in there. This is a straight up ballad. You mentioned the birds at the beginning, the setting like I don't know, the season or whatever, and you can just see a stroll or whatever. It's very, lilting was a good word. Very smooth, melodic, makes you feel good when you hear it. Grooving on a Sunday afternoon, really couldn't get away too soon. Really enjoy that song. I like the Rascals in general, and that a lot of their stuff is a little faster moving, but this is it's a groove basically listening to it. So I like it.
Yeah. Well, my number 9 is Incense and Peppermints, Strawberry Alarm Clock. Their big number 1 hit. I guess they did have one other song that charted, but psychedelic pop. And they don't really pretend about the lyrics that they're kind of gibberish, because in the song it says incense and peppermints, meaningless nouns. Turn on, tune in, turn your eyes around. So, I guess a guy named John Carter wrote the lyrics and Tim Gilbert most of the music, but I guess it was based on a instrumental idea by a couple of the band members who later claimed they didn't get any credit for it. And I know it was using the Austin Powers movie, got kind of some drug references in the song. Yeah. And actually, I guess they brought in another singer because to sing this, and I can't think of the guy's name. That's so it wasn't the band member that was singing the lead on this song. It was like a friend of the band or something like that. And of course, one of the guitarists went on to Oingo Boingo, and another one of the guitarist and singer Ed King went to Leonard Skinner. It was one of the writers of Sweet Home Alabama. I know. But it's a good fun song.
Yep, I agree. My number 9 is Beatles, Penny Lane. I love it, but I like the eat in front of it better. Again, Magical Mystery Tour. The title refers to a street in Liverpool where Paul McCartney grew up in his childhood. I'm a sucker for these nostalgic songs. He's talking about the barber and the bank. You can picture it. Fire engine, fish and finger pies, a nurse selling poppies from a tray. All these little tidbits in the story that Paul's recalling from his childhood. And it all takes place beneath the blue suburban skies. Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes. It's a classic Paul melody. Great pop song. I like the arrangement. It's got piccolo and flutes and oboes and trumpets. Fantastic song. Number 9, Penny Lane.
All right. Well, my number 8 is a Beatles song. That's All You Need Is Love by the Beatles. I still thought that was a little bit of going through the motions. I guess they wrote it for a TV special.
Yep.
And it's kind of almost like a repetitive campfire song that you would sing, but a really cool one. But
yeah,
I just didn't think it was indicative of their musical achievements when you consider that, they just released Sergeant Pepper this year, and then this is the song, one of the songs that, of course, I know they didn't use. One of the things they were doing, they weren't using singles off the album, which was unfortunate, and that a lot of songs from Sergeant Pepper would be very high up on this list.
Right. Yep, that's also my number 8. So we hit on the nail on the head on that. I have it at number 8. It's perfect for the summer of love, though. When you think about it, it's like the ultimate unifying, universal song about love. Recorded at London Studios, June 25th, 1967, for that TV event called Our World. They're all dressed up in hippie costumes and like a love fest sitting around. If you see the video, all you need is love. Love is all you need. And at the end, Paul singing, "She loves," or is it John? "She loves you." Yeah, yeah, yeah. At the end, where they sort of, it's just like a campfire is a good description of it, where they're all sitting around just singing and vibing, and classic 60s song. So that's number 8 for me too.
Oh, my number 7 is, you just mentioned, the Penny Lane, I guess, which is a bus stop in there. And I guess John Lennon had written Strawberry Fields Forever. And so I guess Paul was going to out nostalgia him with his Penny Lane. It's kind of like it got the small town. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a small town feel because Liverpool's big, but I guess neighborhood feel. Thing, the fire engine. I kind of like the clanging when they talk about the fireman.
Yeah.
It's got some really cool brass stuff on there. I mean, there's actually no guitar, I don't think, in the whole song, but it's a cool song. But like I said, I just think that there's 6 more that I like more.
And what's interesting is we're going to have the same, not in the same order maybe, but the same top 6. Because I have at number 7, Incense and Peppermints, which you already mentioned. So the 6 songs ahead of it, none of us have mentioned yet. So it's weird how we came up with those 6 as the top 6 songs. Incense and Peppermints, psychedelic pop, Strawberry Alarm Clock. I like the lyrics, although they are nonsensical. Turn on, tune in, turn your eyes around. I like the line, "Beatniks and politics, nothing is new. A yardstick for lunatics, one point of view. Who cares what games we choose? Little to win, but nothing to lose." But it works in the context of the melody they have. Ed King went on to play guitar for Leonard Skinner. You mentioned Sweet Home Alabama. He was with them on their first 2 or 3 albums before they replaced him with Steve Gaines, who would later die in that horrible plane crash. So Incense and Peppermints, it's a timeless song. You can still put it on now and enjoy it. Number 7.
Yeah, those top 7, I had Penny Lane actually higher when I did it originally, and then I listened to the songs and I go, well, no, I think I like these other ones more.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, my number 6. That's where we are, right?
6, yeah.
6, yeah. Happy Together by the Turtles. Of course, you got Mark Volman and Howard Kalin were the Turtles. They were kind of known for taking songs that the Byrds turned down and trying to make hits with them. But it kind of has this marching beat, and then it gets to this wall of sound chorus that's, it's one of the best. I just love the wall of sound chorus that it goes into. Background voices echoing the horns. Of course, later on, they became Flo and Eddie and moved to the Mothers of Invention. But I think this is just a perfect pop song.
I agree. I have it slightly higher. My number 6 is a song I absolutely love. I just heard it a couple days ago and reinforced how much I liked it. And that's number 6 rather. Ode to Billy Joe by Bobby Gentry. She wrote the song. She grew up in the Mississippi Delta. This, by the way, 4 weeks at number 1. It was a big hit. She grew up in Mississippi, moved to California at age 13, but reflected on her childhood memories and storytelling and so forth, and came up with this song, which is a beauty. It's got a country blues kind of feel to it. The story of Billy Joe McAllister jumping off the Tallahatchie Bridge. It's got a little mystique to it because, you're not really sure why he necessarily jumped. Was it a suicide? Was it distraught, depression, whatever? I don't know. Maybe somebody pushed him. I don't know. I think those questions might get answered in the movie later on that was made in the 70s with Robbie Benson playing the lead, but I don't know. It's a great song. I love the details of the storytelling. It takes you to a place and a time, and it lays everything out, eating dinner and passing the mashed potatoes and the black-eyed peas and all that stuff. Just a great one-of-a-kind song that she came up with. It's lasted all these years. Great song. Number 6.
That's I had a one spot up. I had a number 5, Ode to Billy Joe, Bobby Gentry, kind of known for one of the first women to be writing and producing her own music.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a great story song. She was from Chickasaw County, Mississippi. I call it Mississippi backwoods folk pop. That's what I made us her, because nobody else was doing anything like that. It had that conversational tone in the song, and you could see where she's just showing that no one had any empathy for what the protagonist was going through in the song. It's like, pass the biscuits, please, or pass the black-eyed peas, and here she's devastated.
Right.
And her dad's saying, that Billy Joe never had a lick of sense anyway, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, there was all what did they throw off the Tallahatchie Bridge in the movie? And I don't know how much Bobby Gentry had to do with the movie, but I don't really care for what the movie showed.
No.
The reasons, but and one thing I guess is they had to stop people from jumping off the Tallahatchie Bridge because people were going there and jumping off, and actually it's only about 20 feet off the ground. So Billy Joe wouldn't have died if he jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge unless he drowned, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, wonderful song. Love the strings on there too, because the strings kind of go up and down depending on the part of the song. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a really good video on YouTube also. You can see Bobby Gentry playing that song and just the emotion. She does a really good job on it. Number 5 for me is, an epic song, Light My Fire by the Doors, off their debut album. The Ray Manzarek guitar or organ portion here is really tremendous, where he's just airing it out on the organ. This is one of those songs you can take it as a love song or maybe a drug reference. It's open to interpretation. What the fire is, light my fire, try to get much higher. He was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and they told Jim Morrison prior to that, don't change the words, don't say higher, because we don't want people to think it's drugs. But he did it anyway and was banned from the show. 3 weeks at number 1 is a huge hit, possibly the Doors' signature song when it comes right down to it. They'll always be known for it. I mean, there are other songs I like better, but that was the first one that put them on the map. Light My Fire.
It was interesting that you Light My Fire is my number 4, that you talked about the Ed Sullivan Show, because it's Buddy Holly, Bo Diddley, and the Doors all did what Ed Sullivan didn't want them. And yet here the Rolling Stones, known as the Bad Boys, they changed let's spend the night together and to let's spend some time together. So they changed, but these other artists didn't. But
isn't that crazy?
And like last year was a lot of songs that were remade into hits too. And this is about the only song I can think of on this one is, Jose Feliciano.
Yeah. I like Jose's. Jose's
Yeah,
take on it's good too. Very good.
I guess Robbie Krieger wrote most of the song with Jim Morrison helping with the second verse, I think they said.
Yeah.
And but it is a showcase for Ray Manzarek and the Wandering Keyboards, kind of
Yes,
gothic in nature. Yeah, wonderful song.
it is. And the album version goes on for, you know, a long time. The single was probably cut down to 3 or 4 minutes. I like that album version because you really hear the organ a lot. Fantastic. That was number 4. Yeah, number 4 for me. I'm going to go with Aretha Franklin and Respect, Queen of Soul. Again, her signature song, written by Otis Redding. This became an anthem for civil rights, the women's movement. It's a universal appealing song. Everybody deserves some RESPECT when it comes right down to it. And it's just a wonderful song. And Aretha knocks it out of the park.
I get that a little up higher, but let's see.
Yep.
My number 3 is The Letter by the Box Tops. Lead singer Alex Chilton, I think it was like 16 at the time.
Yep.
And he had this raw, expressive voice and deep voice. And he later went on to Big Star, which was kind of a pop hit superstar group that never made it. You know, yeah, it's looked back now with such fondness, but at the time they didn't sell any records. And he actually sounds younger with Big Star than he did when he was doing The Letter at 16. And I don't know if you've ever seen the video, and I don't know how close it was to when the song came out, but there's a video of him lip syncing to it, and it's like he's not really trying to match the words to.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
But just a great song. I love the airplane sound that was
I like that.
But just a wonderful tune. I guess it was Dan Penn that added the plane taking off sound. But just a wonderful song. Great, expressive. Loved it.
Yep, that's unbelievable. My number 3 is one you had a ways back. This is just one of those songs that I've always liked from the day I heard it, and that's Happy Together by the Turtles at number 3. Just a joyous pop song, very commercial. When I think of 60s pop, this is the one I think of the most. It's just a perfect illustration of what 60s pop was. It's Happy Together by the Turtles. You mentioned Howard Kaylan and Mark Bolan, later Flo and Eddie with Zappa, and just fun-loving guys. This was their smash hit. I can never get enough of it. I know they use it on commercials and they played it to death, but I'll listen to it every time. It's a favorite of mine. It makes you feel happy and you sing along with it. So that's what I'm all about.
All right. Well, my number 2, you had, I guess a spot or 2 back is Respect, Aretha Franklin. When I first made this list, I had that as my number 1 song, and then I kind of changed it after listening to them. But she made that song her own. I mean, even Otis Redding admitted that.
Oh yeah.
That's he had a hit with it too, and then she took it all the way to number 1. And Jerry Wexler, the Atlantic producer, brought in her sister. She's singing background vocal, and they brought in the Muscle Shoals rhythm section, which they just sound fantastic on this song. You got like Spooner Oldham and Chip Moman, and I can't think of all the other guys, but she was totally into the song. You had those gospel piano chords that kind of propel her into the song. Just wonderful singing by Aretha on Respect. That's a great tune. That's my number 2.
Definitely. My number 2 is The Letter by the Box Tops. Alex Chilton, 16 years old. That soulful voice. I mean, nobody would believe he's 16. Out of Memphis, Tennessee. 4 weeks at number 1. That opening drum beat where they go, give me a ticket, just killer, and the plane going on, and he says aeroplane, give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. It's a winner. It's about 2 minutes long. It's short and sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe Cocker did it later in his own style and had a hit with it. But the Box Tops, baby, that's the way to go. And that you mentioned Big Star. That's a band I never followed. I know Alex Chilton was involved with them, but I wouldn't be able to tell you a Big Star tune. And I know a lot of people like them, but I'll have to dive into that at some point and see if I can detect the difference in his voice at that time. But I love the song, still do. Looks like we have
And
the same number one, by the way.
yeah, and the Replacements actually wrote a song called Alex Chilton about him.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. It looks like we both have the same one, and that's Ruby Tuesday, Rolling Stones, written mostly by Keith, about his former girlfriend. Now, he didn't get her back through this song, but later on, I guess he did marry her. This was before Patty Hansen. It's got Jack Nietzsche on piano and just kind of Baroque pop almost. And Rolling Stones never did another song that's quite like this one.
No.
And I just love Mick Jagger's vocals on this.
Me too.
Hey, it's got to be pretty good if you have a restaurant chain named after it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my number one. Like I said, it wasn't the number one when I first did this list, but after listening to it, I go, I just love this song. And
yeah,
like I said, no other Rolling Stone songs like it.
Yeah, what I did was I picked out my top 5, and then I tried to figure out the order. I knew what my 5 best were going to be, and that was Light My Fire, Respect, Happy Together, The Letter, and Ruby Tuesday. And it's just a matter of ironing out the differences. But it is my number one. It's one of them perfect 60s songs again, where you basically freedom and free love. Don't question why she needs to be so free, and a girl that's coming in and out of your life, sort of, she comes and goes, kind of a love the one you're with kind of situation. Great arrangement, great vocal by Mick Jagger. Everything about it. It's just and like you said, they don't really have another song like this in their catalog, as far as I know. It's unique, stands out, love it. So I'm glad we hit on that. We both really like that song. So it's weird how we had the top song together and we had the worst song together. and most of them were bunched in the right area. I mean, this was a good year for music, in my opinion. Now we're going to get into the honorable mentions, so to speak, or the 5 songs that we personally like, and they never reached number 1, so we just want to give them a little bit of love here. What do you have for your 5?
Well, my 5 would be very tough to mesh with those other 5, because some ones were going to be kicked out, I think, because there were some great songs that didn't make it to number 1.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
So I have Brown Eyed Girl, Van Morrison, only made it to number 10. I have People Are Strange by The Doors, which made it to number 12. Great Who song, great drumming by Keith Moon, and I Can See for Miles by The Who, which made it to number 9. Mm-hmm. And then the album rock classic, A Wider Shade of Pale, Procol Harem. Yep. I think it made it to number 5. Yep. And then the other one I'm just going to pick is a little bit different, is by the time I get to Phoenix, Glenn Campbell. I've always liked some of those Jimmy Webb, Glenn Campbell songs, and it only made it to 26.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I somehow overlooked that. I have 2 of the 5 that you mentioned. That would be Whiter Shade of Pale, number 5. That might be my favorite song of that year, but it made it to number 5, Procol Harum. Also, Brown Eyed Girl, Van Morrison. I had to put that in. The 3 different that I have For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield at number 7. White Rabbit, Jefferson Airplane at number 8, which is so cool. And Soul Man by Sam and Dave actually made it to number 2. So those would be the 5 that I would like to single out. And there's a bunch of others that I had written down here that came close. So
I forgot about For What It's Worth, or it would have been on mine for sure.
Yeah. Oh, there's just so many. We should expand that to 10 next time. Because there's so many songs that are on the charts that are timeless,
Yeah.
and yet there's only one number one each week. So some of them just don't get there, but they're great songs nonetheless. So very cool. We hope you enjoyed our look at 1967, the Summer of Love. I want to thank Randall Nelson. Go over and check his channel out, subscribe, like our video, leave some comments. We like the feedback. I definitely encourage people to hit like, because that really propels our video to be out there and be seen. For some reason, my videos don't get a lot of likes. They get their fair share of comments, which I appreciate. And but it's always good if people actually say, hey, I liked your video. So it keeps us wanting to do more of these. So we'll be back with 1968 next week, another great year. Less songs actually made it. I think there's only 15 next year that we're going to be able to take a look at. So for Randy, this is Rich. We will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.